Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time it is a vlog, and I'm going to be talking about movies, but in a different sort of way. I'm going to be talking about movies that I've seen in the theater, and specifically films that I have seen at the Hollywood Theater in Portland, Oregon. Now, the Hollywood Theater is a historic landmark in Portland, and it's one of the oldest theaters, I believe, in the state, that's still operational, that's still running, and it is an icon, and it has some really unique presentations of films in their original format. All kinds of classic, iconic films shown in 35 millimeter. Now, they've also shown films too in digital formats as well. I've seen a few films over there in digital format, like The Shape of Water and Aliens. But for me personally, there's nothing that beats seeing the film in 35 millimeter or 70 millimeter, because that's the way the film was shown in theaters back when it was released. I really do recommend any fan of film to track down a theater locally, if they have one, that is showing films in 35 millimeter. It is a really wonderful experience that I want every film fan to really be able to enjoy and to remember, because it really is something for the ages. My favorite and my best theatrical experiences lately have all been at this theater. The first film I saw at the theater was The Monster Squad, and it's one of my all-time favorite films, and I had a blast. It was a packed house. There was a bunch of people who were there who were as big of a fan of the film as I was, as well as some people who had never really seen it before. And if that wasn't awesome enough, then Fred Decker was actually there in attendance, and I got to meet him. I shook his hand. I got his autograph. So that's another thing that separates Hollywood theater from some other run-of-the-mill theater in the area, or from any of the chains, is because just like something like the Alamo Drafthouse, you have these screenings where you have the opportunity to ask questions, and actually get to see and meet some legendary filmmakers and content creators. It's something that is just really, really cool. What I mean by content creators is you even get an opportunity to meet up with and chat with legendary makeup effects artists like Chris Walas, who I met and got his autograph at a screening of David Cronenberg's The Fly. And I also saw Joe Dante at a screening of The Burbs, and I asked a question about inner space, and he didn't stay afterwards to hang out with fans and take autographs, but it's okay. And there are also opportunities for you to be able to meet up with or ask actors questions. I don't think I've ran into a screening yet where I've had any actors show up, but I have definitely been there for ones where you've had directors and effects artists. And so that's really cool. And it's just, they really do seem to just pick some of the like classic, just awesome movies, and even some Grindhouse stuff. I haven't had the opportunity to see the Grindhouse stuff, but they do show those as well. There's just an immense variety of films that they show at this theater, and in a lot of ways this is kind of like a public service announcement. Not really a public service announcement, but honestly kind of an advertisement for the theater. And I'm not paid or anything, but I definitely want to promote it as much as I can for anyone who's seeing this who is anywhere near the Pacific Northwest, or is in the Portland, Oregon area, or is coming over from out of state, and for any reason to go to Portland. Definitely track this theater down sometime And now I just want to talk about all the films that I saw in this theater and what my experience was like for all of them. The first one I saw was The Monster Squad. Like I said, it was amazing. It was great. I would say for the time being, it is my favorite theatrical experience of all time because it was just legendary. The packed house, people were quoting lines, people were laughing and cheering and having a blast. And then Fred Decker was there and asked him questions, and I got to meet him. So that was one for the ages. That was just an epic experience. Has still not been topped, but there's been ones that have been close. Then I saw Aliens, I believe, after that, and that was pretty cool. I have to say, there were a couple people, a couple hipsters who were like, giving the movie shit as they walked out of the theater, and I don't understand that at all. It's fucking Aliens, man. It's classic, and that would have been better though if it was 35 millimeter. It was only digital, so it was still really awesome to see Aliens in the theater, but it just wasn't a 35 millimeter print. And I believe after that, I think I saw I saw The Fly, David Cronenberg's The Fly with Chris Walas in attendance. That was awesome. That was really really cool. Chris is a really nice guy, and he even drew a little gremlin in a makeup effects book that I had him sign. So that was a very special experience, a very special moment, because I was in awe of his effects when I saw it when I was a kid, and I'm still in awe of his effects to this day. He's a real artist, and he's definitely one of a kind, and he should be appreciated as much as possible. And I believe after that I saw a double feature of A Nightmare on Elm Street and A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Now, this was pretty cool, and I keep using cool because it's almost the best way to say it. It's the best word to use for the experience at the Hollywood Theater. It was definitely the thing, though, about this one was, I would say this is my least favorite experience at the Hollywood Theater, and the only reason why is because of the crowd that was there. The first film, the first screening with the Nightmare on Elm Street went fine, went really well. People weren't too obnoxious, people weren't too drunk and disorderly. But the second showing, the second film that played, which was A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, then people started heckling it and talking shit, and they were drunk, and it hurt the experience for me. I wasn't really a fan of that whole thing because I don't believe the film is as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. So hearing people riff it live really wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't pay for that experience. So I thought it was obnoxious. But it was still worth it to see those films in the theater, especially the first Nightmare on Elm Street and the second one too. It was still fun. And after that, I think that's when I saw the Indiana Jones trilogy, one of my favorite trilogy of all time, in 35 millimeter, back to back to back. I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then it was Temple of Doom, and then it was The Last Crusade. It was just an awe-inspiring marathon of adventure movies. That one's that one's pretty high up there for me in terms of my experience at the theater, because it was just a absolutely astonishing, adventurous, just wonderful good time. I love those movies, and I never thought I'd ever have the opportunity to see them in the theater in 35 millimeter, and the prints were in great shape, and it was just, and everyone involved, everyone who was there in the theater were also big fans, and it was a long sit, but it was worth it. There were a lot of different breaks. There were a lot of breaks in between, so I'd get like a slice of pizza and some other stuff. So, but it was absolutely worth it, and then some. I do it again. I mean, with friends, I totally do that. I would love for them to do a Back to the Future one sometime. or the original Star Wars trilogy. That would be really cool. Back to the Future, I did see the trilogy in the theater, but not in 35 millimeter, and I saw that at Regal, which was a while ago. So after Indiana Jones, I believe that's when I saw. Yeah, I saw the Burbs. I saw the Burbs in 35 millimeter with Joe Dante, who arrived after the film to do a Q&A. And it was just really, really cool to see Joe Dante in person, one of my favorite directors, and ask him a question about inner space. And the Burbs is just a really entertaining, underrated movie. So that was really cool to see that in the theater. And after that, it was The Thing in 70 millimeter, the first 70 millimeter film I'd ever seen. The experience was really, really sweet because of the fact that I went to see it with a good friend of mine, and he had a good time. We had a really great time seeing it in the theater, and got this program. He bought me a poster. I got a pin. I got a pin for the film, and the only thing that makes it a little low on the list for me is our seats. We made the mistake and we didn't get there early enough, so we had like a seat like in the, I don't know, like a corner of the theater, so it wasn't as awesome and as spectacular as it could have been because it was in 70 millimeter, but it was still something that was just a really stunning sight, because even with these kind of crappy seats, the 70 millimeter presentation was just jaw-dropping. And I've never seen The Thing look that good, and I don't think I ever will. Even with the best Blu-ray or even on 4K, I don't think it'll ever top seeing that film in 70 millimeter. So after that, I saw The Shape of Water, which is beautiful. It was gorgeous to see that in the theater. And I believe the next film, the next I don't know if I saw anything at the Hollywood Theater by myself before the most recent double feature showing that I saw. I don't think I did. So the last thing I saw at the Hollywood Theater, I believe, was The Shape of Water. I thought about seeing something like Willow, but the screening was just digital, and I am a gigantic fan of that movie, but I didn't want to see it in digital. I wanted to see it in 35 millimeter. So the most recent films that I saw in the Hollywood Theater, which is actually I think a week ago or two, was Creepshow and Cat's Eye. And this is right up there too when it comes to my top experiences at this theater, because Creepshow is my all-time favorite horror film. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, period. And I was just honestly speechless that I was sitting there watching Creepshow in the theater in 35 millimeter, and just thinking about it just puts a smile on my face. And then after that, I also got the chance to see Cat's Eye, and that's a film that I wasn't really too keen on the first time I saw it. In fact, for those of you who have followed me for a long time, you might remember that one of my first ever reviews on one of my other channels was Cat's Eye. And that's when I shot footage with a really crappy VHS camcorder, and I didn't have anywhere near the passion or enthusiasm or experience as I have now, or confidence that I have in front of the camera. And so I saw that film, I think, for the first time on VHS, and I remember like not being too fond of the general segment, the one with the cat and the troll and Drew Barrymore. And I remember liking the James Woods segment the most. And then after I watched it again in the theater, I gotta be honest, I honestly liked all three stories. And the one that I liked the least I like the most. General. This was a really fun movie. I really enjoyed Cat's Eye. I would actually put it in my top 10 of favorite horror anthologies. And I will definitely talk more about it in the future, sometime this month, because I'm going to be doing some more horror Halloween sort of reviews for this month of October. But it was just really, and the print was in pristine condition. Creepshow had some scratches and stuff, but that honestly added to the film. It didn't really detract from it. And but yeah, it was really nice to see Cat's Eye in the theater, because even though Creepshow 2 would have been awesome, it was just nice to see like a change of pace, a film that I hadn't seen in a while, and that made it a little bit more special and unique. So, and this definitely will not be the last of the films that I will see in this theater. I will be seeing way more films in this theater as long as I'm here or close to that theater, because it's just, the deals are great. I mean, Creepshow and Cat's Eye only cost me around $7 because I'm a student, so I got a dollar discount. But like without that, it was only $8, which is a steal for two movies in 35 millimeter. It's honestly robbery, but it worked out well because the screening sold out, and they're going to be doing another double feature for Stephen King's birthday next year. So I'm definitely going to go to that. And I already bought a ticket for Prince of Darkness, which is going to be coming out this October. And it's going to be a exclusive Hollywood theater experience, because not only you're going to be able to watch the film in 35 millimeter, but afterwards Alan Howarth is going to be there, and he's going to do a live concert. So that is going to be kick-ass, and I can't wait for that. And so that's just the next viewing that I have on the slate for the Hollywood theater. There's going to be more. That's just how amazing this theater is, and how great their selection is, and just how special it is. And I wanted to make a video about it because of the fact that it really is. It's such a special theater and a special experience, and I just wanted to talk about it. So anyway, thank you for watching this video, and as always, I will see you later. See ya.